Yes, I think we are in. So what I'm just going to have to work on here, guys, is, and you may need to bear with me because I now can't figure out why my screen's gone blank. Okay, so I'm going to open up. So, yes, Kate is in. Kate, is this on Facebook in the private client group? And it looks absolutely fine. And you can see my iPad. Charlotte Lucy Pilgrim, nail technician of the year. So guys, someone just let me know. It's a bit behind here, but I'm just going to write Kate so we can see. I think we've got a bit of a time delay. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but Laura's sorted this out for me this morning. Can you guys see that I've just written Kate and my very bad handwriting in the middle of the screen? Yes. Okay, we're in. I'm just getting to grips with it, guys, because I have to keep the volume off because otherwise all I can hear is myself in a delay. But yeah, we've got lots going on. We've got the camera here now. We've got the camera there, and we're slowly moving into the what do we say? What even century is it? 21st century in terms of tech here to go forward. So, okay, so I'm going to scribble Kate out. I think it's about 10 seconds behind. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to open up for any questions at the end, but I'm going to do the training first. And it's always going to be this format. Okay, so one, you should be coming for all the trainings anyway, because they're going to be epic. And remember now, I am having a break on Wednesdays and there's going to be full training sessions. It's still a work in progress, but the way I foresee it eventually is that they will be listed the week before. We're going to be discussing mindset, nutrition, fitness training. You'll know what the training is on Monday and Tuesday, which will start at 8:30, and you'll know what the training is on Thursday and Friday that will start at 8:30. There'll be a super quick Q&A on a Wednesday, and then weekends are off. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. And then they're all going to be, we're still working out the hosting options, but they're all going to be listed in a place where they can be there forever in order for you to refer back to them. Okay, so the biggest thing that I'm trying to eradicate at the moment is that so many people are kind of, the mindset course, it's okay because they're all listed and they're there and they're in the guides and you can go back to them. Guides on here, it would be a little bit difficult because it would be 4 per week. So, you know, within a year, it's going to be 200 plus videos. I can do that. I'd be interested on your guys' feedback, to be honest with you. If you would just like each video uploading as a guide each day after it's been recorded, then I'm pretty sure we could do that by uploading it on either YouTube or maybe even just sharing the link to the video from the Facebook group straight into it, and then you may be able to search for it. But I think the key thing is that it's easy for you guys to find, and that's what we're not getting at the moment. So for instance, Laura McCarthy, when Laura McCarthy is struggling with today's problem, which is how do I get more protein in my diet, she doesn't need to message the hub. She doesn't need to ask me, or even if she does message the hub, it's an instant referral back to a video, and we're not all getting lost in time wasting text messages and fucking WhatsApp tennis and all that stuff that just drains your life and causes frustration. Frustration for you if you have to ask the same question again, even though you know you've had the answer before, and frustration for me if I have to deliver the same answer, even though that I've given it for yours. So it's a kind of two-way thing, and it should, if all goes to plan, be absolutely epic. So today you will have to excuse my handwriting, and you're probably going to be seeing a lot more of my bald head than normal because we're going to be writing on here. But we're going to go through the question that every new starter will ask, and we'll just say honestly, Lindsay, WhatsApp is this is what Cover Your Kids is. This is what my coach Paul described it as. WhatsApp is a fucking cesspit. And it is, WhatsApp for me is for if I want to be chatting shit with Laura about training, or chatting to Nat, or texting my mates about music, or sharing a track with another DJ. That's what WhatsApp should be for. But, business group, those of you that are self-employed, if you're using WhatsApp for business, very amateur level, it's not even a business if you're doing that, it's a hobby. If you are in loads of distracting group chats, I would recommend you leave them. And also, I would also recommend what you guys will see. This is quite a big tip, actually. You might be able to see it on my phone. 2 seconds. Okay, so if you look at my phone, okay, for someone who's got so many things, what you will see is, I'm trying to line it up so you can see it, okay? There is nothing on that first screen that ever has any notifications on it, okay? That means I don't get distracted. If I go onto the second screen, there is still nothing that has any notifications on it, okay? If I go onto the third screen, there is still nothing that has any notifications on it. And on the fourth screen, I've got fucking WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger, everything else, and all the other crap that constantly has red lights on it, okay? Subconsciously, for me, red lights, notifications, need to deal with it, causes me stress, causes me anxiety, distracts me from what I'm doing, means that I lose focus. Yeah, Kate, mine is as well, and I need to figure out how to change that. Laura will probably know, she's the expert, she might be able to help us. But yeah, that would be the last thing that I ever wanted to do, would ever want to do. However, I do think there are going to be some and I already know from what guys in my business group have said with Paul, that there are some massive upsides to WhatsApp business. It's the same number, but it's slightly different. I think it's like a business type of WhatsApp. I don't know. To be fair, I'm talking crap. I don't know anything about it at all. But what I do know is, there we go, we're a bit bigger now. What I do know is that some of them have said that it's been really, really good for business. So I do want to know more about that, but just not yet. Causes distraction, makes you lose focus, winds you up. The last thing you want is to be in a really good place with some personal development, or tracking your food, or focusing on finishing a project, or reading a book, or watching one of these videos, and you get distracted by a red dot on your phone. You go into it and it's something that boils your piss into the middle of next week, and then you start dealing with that, and then the stress comes, and the anxiety and the overwhelm, and then the job that you were doing, which was high value, that you were really focused on, then gets lost. Okay, now tomorrow's and Friday's training is going to be in 2 parts, okay? And it's both to do with creating a strategy, having clarity, not claret, and dealing with overwhelm, okay? What overwhelm is, why it doesn't exist, what it really is, and how we deal with it, okay? I think it's one of the best trainings I've ever delivered. I delivered it in my Elite Mastermind business mentorship yesterday. And it's a much longer training from a business perspective though. So I'm going to break it down more into a life perspective for you guys, okay? But that is a good tip for your phone. Take all notifications off, move them all. Anything that distracts you, move it to the last page. Then I only go into that page if I make a decision. I have to skip through 4 pages of apps, okay? So I'm making a decision to go into those notifications and deal whatever it is, okay? Can you guys imagine if I just sat with my Facebook page and my Messenger and my WhatsApp and PT Hub open on my computer? I would literally get nothing done. Okay. Everything on my computer is blocked down to F. Okay. Google Newsfeed blockers. It's an app. Okay. And I'm on Facebook. When I'm on Facebook, if it's outside of times when I might choose just to be a nosy little Parker and be having a browse at what everyone else is up to, which is probably roughly around about 15 minutes per week, everything is shut down, so I can't see it. Okay. And yet I create a persona, don't I, that people will be like, he's just on Facebook all the time. Okay. I'm on Facebook all the time. One, because Laura's world class at marketing. And two, because all that work's done in a short period and scheduled and planned, okay? Not as and when. What would happen if it was just done as and when, okay? What would happen if we got up and just decided to do whatever Facebook post we were going to do today? We'd be on Facebook all the time. Then we'd get distracted, okay? So it's a good tip, that. But so we're going to draw 3 columns, and I want you guys to post in the comments, because the more interactive these trainings are, the more it's going to help you, the more you're going to remember it, and the more it's going to learn, okay? I would also recommend that you get a pen and a paper and you do exactly the same thing, okay? So first of all, at the top, just as a reminder, we are going to write calories are king, consistency is key. Okay. Now that's 2 things that we need to remember. And moving on from yesterday's training on MyFitnessPal, if anything goes wrong with the links or you can't see the text or whatever, do let me know, because I don't want to carry on talking if anything's gone with the volume. Jane Bassett, you're in charge. Selena Jane, you're in charge. They're the last 2 comments I can see. Okay. Kate Williams, you're in charge. Edie Booth, Lindsay Catchpole. Yeah, we're all there. Good. Melissa's the boss. We all listen to Melissa. So we need to remember those 2 things. Calories are king. Consistency is key. Okay. If your calories were consistently on point throughout the week and you were in a calorie deficit to begin with in the first part of your journey, and macros were all over the shop, but you were still within your calories, would you still get results? 9 times out of 10, as long as you were doing the exercise, okay? Would you build massive amounts of lean muscle mass and get your abs out? Almost definitely not, okay? So it has to become more intricate as we go, but at the beginning, more people, they overthink that aspect too much, okay? So when you're trying to get the percentages right, when you're trying to get the protein right, when you're going to get the carbs right, when you're trying to get the fat right in your first 2 or 3 weeks and it's not perfect, I want you to go back to this box and ingrain it somewhere and remember what Lee said, okay? Consistency is key. Consistency of exercise and tracking food. Calories are always king. If you are in your calories and you're consistently exercising, you will get results in the first 8 weeks, probably irrelevant of your macronutrient splits. That's not me saying be lazy and just go and have all the carbs and no fats and protein, okay? That's me saying don't overthink the finer details. And whilst we're here, really quickly, I don't know if you guys can see that one. I've just put that up, but I just want to say another big welcome in the middle of this one too. Roxanne Bingham, Donna Chapman, Liam Simcox, Erin Cox, Rachel Unwin, Georgina Lay, Kirsty Allen, Paul Deacon, Jesse Impey, Sarah Neen, Carlos McKenna, Emma Taylor, Jessica Rose, Gemma Murdoch, Gareth Murdoch, Lloyd Bracken, Paul Mosley, Cheryl Kersey and Nicola Spooner. You are in very safe hands. Just let me know in the chat as well. I'm not sure if it did with me sharing my iPad. I just opened a spreadsheet then on top of the iPad. Could you guys see that or could you not see it? Let me know. So anyway, we are then going to create, and this is when we're going to get interactive. Okay. So we're going to create 3 lines. Okay. And the first point that I want you guys to take home is you may think, why have I written them in that order? And there is a specific reason. Okay. It's because protein and fats we're going to put, I'll have an E, please, Bob. After each of them, and we're going to put an NE after carbs. E equals essential. NE equals non-essential. Okay, again, a very little known fact. Protein and fats are essential macronutrients. That means your body can't get them anywhere and you need to give it to them. Give it that. Okay. Does that mean we can not have any carbs? No, of course not. Carbs are an exceptionally important macronutrient. Number one, they're the body's the main source of energy. So again, without blinding you with too much science, what happens when we eat carbohydrate is the pancreas secretes insulin that converts carbohydrate to glycogen. It is then stored in muscles or the liver or the kidneys as energy to go and burn. Okay. If you are very low carb, as lots of douchebag coaches promote, because it's an easy way to get a quick win on the scales, no energy, poor sleep, crap training output, bad mood, ratty, tired. Guys, you've done it. You've done the low carb diets. Okay. Quit, hunger, binging. Okay. That said, we need to make sure we have the right amount of carbs. Okay. Because if we don't, over a process of 7 to 10 days, just like calories, okay, if the carbohydrate is converted to glycogen and then that glycogen is not burnt and we're not in a calorie deficit, what will happen? Exactly the same as what will happen when we're over on calories. Okay, so this is why we have this completely unnecessary but understandable fear of carbs. Okay, it's just because the science has been misinterpreted to you, and it's not your fault, and I want you to know that. Okay, but we all need carbs. It would be, unless it's like a 5'2" bird who weighs less than 10 stone and is probably over 35 years old. Very rarely do I have anyone on less than 100 grams of carbs. Okay, again, I don't know what the right word is that I'm trying to use. I do this all the time. Exceptions to those circumstances would be if someone was on a ketogenic diet for any reason, or it might be Kate, for example. I'd very often run carbs as low as I can if someone has PCOS, okay? But again, I judge it on an individual per person basis, but low carb is not the answer. All it is if you go back to what I just said there, okay? So run your head through this process, okay? Let's think of this monster as some carbohydrates, okay? Okay. Does my body weigh more now than it did before? Yes. Let's have some more carbs. Does it weigh more now than it did before? Yeah. Some water as well. Does it weigh more now than it did 3 sips ago? Of course it does. Okay. Why? Because obviously it hasn't happened yet, but 2 things. One is that carbohydrate went into my system. My pancreas secreted insulin. It converted it to glycogen and it stored it in the muscle belly, ready for me to lose. Okay, as long as I haven't been for a wee or a poo or burned it off, I'm going to weigh more. It's like going and putting that tin in the cupboard downstairs. Weigh the cupboard before and after. It's going to weigh more. Exactly the same happens. And this is why these douchebag, I love using that word, coaches and Atkins and Cambridge and all these low carb things, that's why they love it. Because it takes any pressure off of them. It's not fat, okay? What happens if I then don't have the 3 sips and I don't have the water? And another thing to realize here is that carbohydrate holds 4 water molecules, whereas protein and fats only hold 1. So when you take all the carbs out, not only will you empty the glycogen stores, not burn fat, that's taking the tins out of the cupboard, you flushed all the water out with it as well. Okay. So you then jump on the scale and you're like, woohoo, yes, Sharon, I've lost 7 pounds in a week. Okay, 7 pounds of glycogen and water, you can only burn a pound of fat. Okay, but that's where it all comes from. So that might be some back understanding that will help you to realize that, as I said, there is a very understandable fear of carbs by the shit that's promoted in this industry, but it's also a very unnecessary fear of carbs. Okay, so those of you, I'm gonna draw some more lines here. Okay, and I want you guys to put some comments in the box. Okay, so I want you to start with, I want you to comment all foods that you think are round about 75% protein and above. Okay, I'm going to go for a quick wee, drop them in the comments, and then we're going to do the same for the other 2 foods, and then I'm going to fill the columns up, and then we'll have this to go back to at any time we want, to have a referral point that we know. And then we're also going to create another little box here, because whilst foods are predominantly one macronutrient, there's also a group of foods that are kind of all a mixture of fats and proteins together, which we'll come on to, and those are both essential too. Okay, so guys, I think you're on a little bit of a delay. I'm just going to nip to the loo, get rid of this can of monster, and drop the comments in. Okay, what foods are, if you can, don't worry, Matt, anyone who's still watching, I'll be back in 2 minutes anyway, but just drop in to the comments any foods that you know are predominantly fully made up of protein. Okay. Okay, we're back. So yes. Okay, so chicken, correct. Chicken, eggs, incorrect. Nuts, incorrect. White fish, correct. Eggs, incorrect. Chicken and fish, incorrect. Chicken and fish, correct. Eggs, incorrect. Okay, so some nuts, Greek yogurt, fish, meat, chicken, turkey are the best. I've been eating more tuna. So yeah, so you're in the right region, guys. Eggs very firmly fit into this one, which is why some of you are struggling. When you're talking about you're trying to increase your protein, but you can't do it without going over on fats, okay? Eggs are round about 6 grams of protein and 6 grams of fat per egg, okay? So it's pretty much 50-50, and again, depending on how they're cooked. But you're in a situation where if you're eating a lot of eggs, then your fats are going to be really high. Egg whites, absolutely, okay? And they can be bought in like milk cartons now. We can get 2 chicks egg whites. And you can also buy them from bulk powders. They're actually quite cheap. So again, a really good tip there. If you were struggling, if you love, let's say you love scrambled eggs, you could have, 70% egg whites and an egg just to give it some more flavor. And that would be very high protein, fairly low fat. Okay. But we're right. So we've got chicken. We've got turkey. We've got white fish. We've got whey protein. We've got Greek yogurt, not Greek style yogurt. Okay, and we've got beef. And that's predominantly it, okay? In terms of the foods that are just protein. Now, we're then going to come into, I'm going to put another little, a little line here so we know. And then we have also got things like salmon, certain beef. Again, in fats and proteins here, I'd put really oily fish. Okay, so probably one of the best foods you can eat. But again, really oily fish, so I'm talking like sardines and mackerel, is going to be packed full of the most essential omega-3, 6 and 9, and it's the best thing you can eat for your body. Personally, I can't stand oily fish. I can't eat it. I'm a little bit unfortunate in my food choices, as in that I can't eat. I don't really like any fish. There's one type of fish I like, and that's sea bass. So certain beef. Okay. So again, we need to remember which I'll come on to. Okay. So again, we may then look at that and think, well, that kind of like, it's not that much to choose from, really, is it? And that's when we need to get a little bit creative with the diet, okay? So again, even just with egg whites, okay? So omelets, packed with micronutrients, okay? So an omelet that could be packed with mushrooms and tomatoes and peppers and red onion and little bits of ham. Again, in that, we've got kind of in this bottom one, we've got ham, gammon, bacon, pork, lamb, which I'm going to include at the bottom, which you guys will see there. But again, it's thinking outside the box to keep it interesting. So if we're looking to solely increase protein, we either need to just eat more of the foods in that left-hand column, or we need to increase the portion size, okay? So I think this is a big thing where people go wrong. You're looking for something new rather than just thinking, well, I've already got chicken in that meal. What about if I have 150 grams instead of 100? Okay, you've just increased that meal by 25% on protein. Okay, but again, chicken, we need to think outside the box. So we've got curry, Thai green curry, Thai red curry. We've got, you know, meals when we could have chicken and bacon and avocado if we want more fats. Okay, we've got chicken burgers. We've got chicken fajitas. Okay, so straight away in just 2 minutes, we've got, hang on, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, off of the curry, we could make 4 or 5 different chicken curries. We could have, if they're in the recipe books, you could have a korma, you could have a tikka, you could have Cajun spice chicken. So if chicken's your thing and you love chicken, you know, you can very easily create 7 different meals worth of chicken, and you could make, you know, a really nice low fat, high protein Thai green chicken curry that's 8 portions. Okay, have 2 yourself or 2, 1 with your partner. You could have 1 the next day at work in a jacket potato. You could freeze it so you've got it there for when you need it. But you know, we very often, I think people will think, oh, I'm just so sick of eating chicken. Well, you know, think of a different way to eat chicken. Chicken nuggets, chicken burgers, chicken bacon avocado salad, chicken curries. You know, there's chicken fajitas, chicken pitta, chicken wrap. Okay, there's lots of different ways to do it. And again, the same with turkey. We've got turkey burgers. We've got the turkey chili, probably the most popular recipe in the group. Again, why not cook the full turkey chili, all 6 portions, have 2 for your tea tonight, and then you've got 2 that you can freeze and you can just put straight into MyFitnessPal because it's already saved. And then you've got 2 that you can take to work tomorrow and warm up and have it in your jacket potato. There you go. You made lunch for tomorrow whilst you were cooking tea tonight. But you could, again, if you were low on protein, you could increase the amount of turkey in the turkey chili. Why I wrote those ones at the bottom there with the beef is, again, be cautious on this, because again, some of your questions will be that I'm going over on fats whilst trying to increase my protein. If you check the packages fairly carefully, most lean minced beef comes in 5 options, okay? 2%, 5%, 10%, right up to about 25%, I think. Guys, just let me know the feed's all good. I think you can all see me and everything's fine. I've just seen that what Selena wrote in the comments. But yeah, we need to, obviously, yes. Yeah, Melissa's there. Good. So, you know, we need to be a little bit cautious of that, because very often it could be just picking the right beef or the right cut of beef, or the, you know, I know turkey mince goes from 2% to 15% in terms of fat. The total Greek yogurt, again, you can get 0% fat total Greek yogurt, and you can get 5 or 10% fat total Greek yogurt. So again, be aware of that. But again, it's that phrase, isn't it? There's many ways to skin a cat. So again, with the turkey, there's many ways that we can cook turkey. You know, turkey meatballs in a tomato sauce, turkey breast, turkey chili, turkey burgers. If you're having a barbecue, you know, you don't have to think just turkey. Packets of cooked turkey and with a little bit of spinach and cranberry sauce rolled up. There you go. All of that is all protein. Okay, you can eat as many of them as you want per day until you hit your protein levels. White fish. Okay, again, we've got, I'm running out of space here, but we've got cod, we've got haddock, we've got sea bass. Okay, we've got halibut. Again, white fish doesn't have to just be the same white dish. Make it a nice meal for you and your partner. You know, some really nice rice, steamed green vegetables with a garlic butter and 2 fillets of sea bass. Okay, again, if you don't want the carbs, don't have the rice. Fill your plate up with the steamed green veg and the butter, and have 3 or 4 fillets of fish. Okay, completely high protein, low fat, low carb, and that will, honestly, for those of you, obviously I've just seen Selena's, for those of you who love eating fish, I honestly believe if I liked it, I would probably 90% of my protein would come from fish, purely because of the omega-3, 6 and 9 profiles in it. I know the properties of that. I know how good it is for my brain, how good it is for my energy, my hair, my skin, everything. You literally can't eat enough fish, okay? I mean, again, we've kind of got tuna in there. Tuna we might put into the bottom one with salmon, which is into those kind of groups of foods that have protein and fats in, and it would be a totally different seminar for vegans, but I can do one on that. Well, I'm not going to do it within this one though, because it will become really confusing, but we'll do a quick how to get your protein in for vegans and veggies as well, and we can share that to the vegan group. So yeah, and again, whey protein. So whey protein, we've got the powder, we've got Grenade carb killer bars, we've got chocolate brownies, there are a million different ways whey protein is consumed on the market, in terms of bars and brownies and flapjacks. Generally, I avoid them. I will have a carb killer as a treat, but they're full of preservatives. They're very processed, and there's a lot of other crap in them as well. And they don't taste that good without, having that fairly high level of fats in it. And that's the reason. That's why you have to be careful. And that's why some of you are going over. And it's that classic one as well, when we say, who's been there when you go to a restaurant, you're like, oh my God, why does everything here taste so much better than when I cook it? Well, probably because it's been triple fried in oil and butter for a start. Or if it hasn't been fried, it's at least been cooked in a lot of oil and butter. And that's why it tastes so amazing. Again, there's always going to be a certain amount of preservatives and oils and butters in something like a Grenade carb killer bar, to be able to make it taste like chocolate. Okay. And so we have to be a little bit careful with that. But again, the killer for me is, and this is how any single one of you, and I don't think there's very many people that wouldn't like this, but the easiest way, and this is the question that keeps getting asked time and time again, is how can I increase my protein without everything else? Okay. It is simply eat more of any of those foods. Okay. So increase the portion size. Protein keeps you fuller for longer. Okay. I can never pronounce this word right, but it's called satiety. Okay, a feeling of fullness, a feeling of not being hungry. Okay, and you will never overeat protein or get fat on it. Okay, it will simply be excreted from the body, and you'd have to be way over on calories to be getting fat on eating protein. So it always is the number one go-to, and there's a reason why I've done this training in that way, because when I plan MyFitnessPal, I put all my proteins in first. Okay, so I go through the meals and I get my protein sorted first. Okay, then I can see what fats I've got left, and then I do those next. Why? Let's go back to the top of the video. Because protein and fats have an E next to them, which means they're essential. Carbs are non-essential, but as I said, they do have a whole host of processes within the body. Okay, so again, we've got the second column in the protein, which again is the meats and the fishes that they're not quite, I don't think they quite deserve to go into the column here, where we've got the fats and the protein. Oh, the delay's massive. Where we've got the fats and the proteins where they're round about equal, but they still need to go into that column. But for me, they need to go lower down at the bottom, because my iPad's not moving now at all. They need to go lower down at the bottom, because the ones that I've written there, so the salmon, the certain beef, the ham, the gammon, the pork and the lamb, those do all have, I don't know why can you guys all still see the iPad okay? I don't know why it stopped moving on the screen. Those ones at the bottom there on the left, the beef, the ham, the gammon, the pork, the lamb, salmon, they all have a fairly high amount of fats in as well. Okay, yeah, it's just started moving again. Sometimes things need to wake it up, so you need to be a little bit careful with them. But that's why, okay, we put the protein in first, because once we've got that in, that's our first essential macronutrient boxed off for the day. Okay, then we're going to move on to fats. Now, all the foods that are in the carbs, which are non-essential, generally won't have, or it will be a trace amount of fats in. Okay, so I'm going to box my fats off next. And again, especially ladies, for hormonal reasons, it is really important that you hit your fat levels. Okay, again, 20% either way isn't going to really hurt anyone probably. But if you're on 60 grams of fat because you weigh 60 kilograms or around about that amount, I would recommend getting 60 grams of fat. Okay, it's all the essential oils. Okay, it's the omega-3, 6 and 9. It's the brain food. It's going to improve your hair, your skin, your teeth, your nails, your digestion. Okay, this is why you will hear, and it's a whole new training to teach you about keto diets, but this is why you hear some people go keto and they literally they champion it like it's just the only diet that anyone should ever do. 90% of people can't stick to it, but if you can, you will feel incredible because it's just 70% fat, so you're going to be absolutely full of it. In regards to foods that are fats, okay, so here's the simple ones. So I would put butter as a first call. Just bear with me 1 second. And these are the simple ones, okay, that are 100% fat that we can add in if we're looking to, I'm still low on my fats and I want to increase my fats, but I don't want to go over on protein. Okay, remember, we've not even thought about carbs yet. Okay, so we've got butter or any forms of butter. We've got oils. So within oils, I'm going to put hemp, olive. Popeye would love that. We've got avocado. And any number of them. If you go into the big supermarkets now, okay, there's like a whole array, isn't there, of cooking oils, chili oils. Almost all of them will be 100% fat. If we're cooking in oil and not just one cow, again, we need to make sure that we're tracking those oils because it's 100% fat. Okay, and I'm going to do another little box here at the bottom for you guys for a reminder or a refresh. Okay, it's so weird watching it on the delay. That we need to remember 1 gram carb equals 4 calories. Okay, I'm just going to wait for that to catch up and check that it's gone on. Okay, yeah, 1 gram protein equals 4 calories. 1 gram of fat, ready? 9 calories. Okay, this is why fats get such a bad name and why low fat diets became such a thing. Fat and body fat is not the same thing. Okay, although people think it is. One is adipose tissue on the body, one is a macronutrient contained within foods. Okay, you don't get fat because you eat fat. Okay, you get fat because you eat too many calories and you don't exercise enough. Now, the reason why they get a bad name is look at how they're over double, okay, in terms of calories. So 10 grams of fat is 90 calories. 10 grams of protein is 40 calories. That's why fats get a bad name, but that's also why you need to be so cautious and so careful, okay? Because the little bit of butter, the little bit of oil that you cooked in, the mayo, okay? The nut butter that wasn't weighed. Some butters are almost 100%, some nut butters are almost 100% fat. Some nuts are as well. So the little handful of peanuts, okay? The full fat milk, in the cups of tea, okay, it's easy to see, isn't it, how we thought we were in a calorie deficit, but actually we weren't, okay? Because we had a bit of mayo that we didn't weigh and track. Mayo is 100% fat, it's eggs and olive oil. We cooked in some oil that we didn't log. We had 3 Costas with full fat milk in that we didn't log. The teaspoon of nut butter was guesstimated. And we just kind of put a knife full of butter in the jacket potato, okay? Or bought a jacket potato from one of those wagons. You've seen how much fucking butter they put in. Okay, no wonder they taste so good. They're like, and then with the spatula thing, pushing it all through the jacket potato before putting cheese. I bet a jacket potato with cheese and beans, okay, could easily be up to 1,000 calories, okay, in some of those things, okay. So those are the things. And also, here's a big one here that's massive, something you won't know about, most of you won't know about, which I'm going to include, because if you're a bit of a psycho like me, it's a very easy way to get your fats up. It's got massive thermodynamic fat burning properties as well. And if you can drink it or have tablespoons of it or cook in it, it's a great addition to any diet. And it's also 100% fats, okay? MCT oil. MCT stands for medium chain triglyceride, okay? It's coconut oil in its purest form. And if you had 10 grams, it's going to be 90 calories of pure fat. So if you were 10 grams under on fat, you don't really want any more food. You've sorted all your meals out. Everything's looking super sexy, but you want that extra 10 grams of fat. I would generally drink olive oil, avocado oil, hemp oil, MCT oil, or I would add a little bit of butter, some oil to my salad, or some mayo to one of my wraps or one of my meals or something to bring it up, okay? And that will bring the fats up to where they should be. Now, again, then we have this bottom category, okay, which is fats and protein. So again, nut butter, it depends on the type of nut. You need to be careful. Some nuts are much higher in protein, moderate fat. Some nuts are virtually all fat and more moderate in protein. So the other big one is, as you heard me speak about it many times, is cheese, okay? So the foods that are generally a mix of fats and protein are eggs, nuts, nut butter, oily fish, and cheese, okay? Now cheese, we can break obviously down into very different ones. So we've got cheddar, okay? We've got feta, we've got mozzarella. Those are the 3 that I'm going to talk about, okay? So again, there's high protein cheeses on the market now that you can get from Myprotein. They will still have some fat in, but cheddar is almost all fat. Red Leicester is almost all fat, and they have a moderate amount of protein in, okay? That's why they're the key ones that taste so good. Feta and mozzarella feta's kind of in the middle. Mozzarella's roundabout, dependent on which one you buy, can be up to 50% protein and 50% fats, okay? It's more milk-based, isn't it? But again, if you've got plenty of fats left and you've got some protein left, something like a caprese salad, which would be sliced mozzarella ball, rocket, spinach, balsamic vinegar, loads of chopped cherry tomatoes and some peppers and a little bit of olive oil, 5 seconds to make, really good high fat, high protein meal, okay, if you had both left. So we just need where I think so many of you become unstuck is when we're in this, when we're low on protein. I've just seen her do a star next to the fats and proteins. Very often when we're looking to just increase protein, because we've already run out of fats and protein, because we've already run out of fats, if we go into these foods, so the cheese, the oily fish, again, the fattier meats, so the ribeye steak, the sirloin steak, the rump steak, the nuts, the nut butter, the oils, those are going to push the fats up as well. So that's where some people are struggling. But overall, and again, this is the last bit that's going to take 2 seconds because it doesn't matter because we all know about these, don't we? Because it's probably the single thing that holds us all back going over on them, and that's the carbs, okay? So carbs are generally our cereals, bread, all potatoes, sweet, King Edwards, rice, sweets, chocolate, crisps, okay, all grains, fruit, wine, cider. Okay, we all know what carbs are, and that's why so many people struggle when they start out on this journey, because it's like, holy shit, I've just been living on carbs and I'm not really giving any fats. So it's no wonder why very often people have poor skin and poor nails and poor hair, because they're not getting the fats, and fats are an essential macronutrient. Okay, they also they can't build any muscle, and their bone mass is low, and they might go on to suffer from things like osteoporosis, and have poor bone density, low calcium levels, low mineral levels, again, because they're not getting enough protein in the diet, which is essential. But generally, anything that comes from a grain or a fruit is carbohydrate. Again, sweet potatoes, King Edwards potatoes, boiled potatoes, baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, oven cooked chips. It's all just a fucking potato. Okay, don't overthink it. Sweet potato has got round about the same macronutrient and calorie amounts as a King Edwards. Okay, but it's just the bro food, isn't it? I'm into fitness now, so I eat sweet potato. But that said, Cajun spice sweet potato wedges are the boss, with a small piece of fillet steak and a medley of steamed fresh broccoli, asparagus, and green beans with garlic butter. One of my favorite meals. So yeah, I hope that's been insightful this morning, but just try to do that first. If you try and complete your MyFitnessPal, and make sure you cover off the protein and fats first, based on everything that I've put on here, make sure everything's tracked, and that will be your one step towards success. But generally, remember, calories are king, consistency is key. Protein and fats are essential, carbs are non-essential. You've got the overall lists there. I think subconsciously, what many of you are looking for when you come out with things like, how do I get my protein up? You're really looking for a food that you used to go into that's full of carbs or fats, that you want a kind of replacement for that, which actually doesn't exist. Okay, so we need to make sure we get these protein boxed off first. Okay, as long as your energy levels are right, sleep, productivity, and everything else, even being over on protein, being slightly under on carbs and slightly under on fats is not a problem. But what we need to avoid is being over on carbs, and it means being over on fats and then not hitting protein. Okay, that is the zone where you will not progress. Okay, so I hope that's been super helpful. What I am going to do now is we are going to go into a quick Q&A and see what questions you brothers and sisters have got. Really looking forward to the next crew starting in 5 days as well. Any of the new are watching, it's probably the most important video you're going to watch. So the one question I screenshotted was, this is a question Kate asked as well. And honestly, I'm not going to go into this one too much. Gareth's asked it as well. And the reason is purely because it's unimportant. So he posted in the Q&A yesterday about how often should you revisit your BMR or calories. I would tell you when to change that when you need to. Okay, if you start getting too deeply into that in terms of knowledge when you're still progressing, as you are Kate and as you are Gareth, you're confusing the mind. Okay, and you're confusing it with things that you don't need to confuse it with. If you started to plateau or hit a sticking point, that would be the point when we would discuss that. But the reason why is there's so many variables. Okay, so if you imagine when you could have come to me and your metabolism was battered down at 1300 calories, and we've rebuilt it up through training to 2,700 through training and healthy eating. Would then set you back in a deficit, and see how confusing it is just thinking about this. You then weigh less than you did when you started, so your science would say that your metabolic rate is now less, but it was actually less than less to start with because you didn't have a healthy metabolism, which we've now repaired. Okay, there's that many variables that unless I was at a sticking point or I'd plateaued and I felt I needed to make changes because I'd stopped progressing, which neither of you have, it's not even something that I would visit in terms of understanding. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And this is why so many coaches go wrong, okay? When Nat and I write one of your nutrition plans, okay, we don't just put, okay, this is what coaches do, and it gets to me. They put the client's details into a BMR calculator and they say, oh, okay, Gareth, okay. They don't take into account PCOS. They don't take into account your exercise. They don't take into account your past eating habits. And they go, that's what science says your BMR is. So that's how many calories you should be on. This is what science says your deficit's in. So that's what deficit you're in. Off you go and smash it. Okay. And then they don't get results because they've not taken any other of those variables into account. Okay. So that's why we have the questionnaire process and we ask all those questions. What does a current day's diet like? What's worked for you in the past? How do you feel after a high carb meal? You know, all of those things. And then we use that along with the science-based approach and the individual bespoke approach and all those other variables to create the point where you think you should be right at. And Nat and I often will have a discussion about it as well. So we've got to bounce ideas off. So she'll say, right, I've just created Gareth's plan. This is what science says. This is all the other information you have. This is where I think Gareth should be. What do you think in terms of that? You know, and we'll bounce off each other as well. So again, we're looking at all these variables. So none of you have got a set scientific calorie and macro amount. Okay, you've got the one that we've created, and it's very easy to often. It's the impatience thing, isn't it? To want to change things that aren't broken. So I wouldn't either of you get weighed down with that at this stage. I'm massively running out of time, guys. I'm now 2 minutes late for a meeting, so I'm going to be as quick as I physically can. I think there might have been another question, and I'm going to have to rattle through them. I'm really sorry, but I've waffled on like a potato waffle on that one, haven't I? Okay, really quickly. Okay, Matt, I think I've boxed off planning on protein. So I'm not going to go into that one any further, but I will look at it. Jane Brooks starting to build some muscle on my biceps. Go on, Jane. But my right arm is definitely a lot more defined than my left. Shall I do more on my rep to even it out? No. Everyone will always have that. Okay, you'll always have one leg bigger, one arm slightly bigger. It would be to do with things like driving, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. The more you move, and it would just create more of an imbalance. I definitely wouldn't recommend trying to do more on one leg than the other ever. Okay, Stacey, I've never had any upper body strength. Means you've not worked hard enough. I can't do a single press up. Means you've not tried hard enough. I have to do them on my knees. That's what you should be doing. Cross my feet. So last night I really struggled with upper body workout. What can I do to strengthen my arms so at least I can do a proper press up? Okay, you keep going. Okay, exactly what Matt's advised you to do. Okay, you're trying to do 20 press ups before you've done one. Okay. If you can do one full press up today, and then you can do 2 in 2 days, and then you can do 3 in 3 days, that's perfect. Okay. But what you're doing at the moment is you're trying it, you can't do it, so you're giving up, and then you're throwing out variables like, I've never had any upper body strength. Okay. Upper body strength, nobody has upper body strength. Nobody ever has had it. Okay. It comes from repetition is the master of all skill. Okay. Keep trying. That's all you need to do. Okay. Matt's giving you the best advice possible. Okay. So if you can't even do a full one to start with, then you would do it on your knees, after you've said, and you would build up until you could do 5, 10, 15, 20 on your knees. And then you would go back to doing a full one, trying to do a full one. Okay. And you will get there. But trust me, every single person when they started, nobody could do a press up. They just kept practicing, kept going, kept trying, didn't give up, and you'll get there. And that's exactly what you need to apply. Guys, I've got to shoot. I love you all. I hope that's been really helpful today. Have an amazing day, and I cannot wait to deliver more trainings like this, because it's just going to take us all to the next level. Come on, have a good day.